All right, y'all, welcome to our weekly Team Revive Zoom. We have a treat tonight where we get to hear from Jessi. She is going to share so much of what she's doing that is obviously working. It's working. She's already enrolled a few, and it's only the beginning of the month. And last month, I believe the number was 27. She helped 27 people sign up. She had mini silvers, senior silver. She herself both went senior gold and ruby last month, and I'm so excited for her goals this month and beyond. But my favorite thing, Jessi, has been watching you come alive to watch others succeed. Like, you're not just after your own success, but you're like, everybody can do this. I want to teach them how to do this, and I want to bring them along this journey with me. And that is what network marketing is all about, and it's what we get to do, and we get to train leaders. So I'm just like super eager to hear from you tonight. So I just want you to hop on in, teach us all you're doing, and what we can be excited for here in August.
All right. So I'm really excited. I almost feel like I had like too much information. So I had to put together like notes because there's so much to share. Hi, Lydia. I saw her sneaking there. But there is so much happening, and I feel like I just want to encourage everyone. I've been saying this a lot, but I already want to tell you, if you're not registered for a convention in Vegas next year, like just go ahead and do that right now. I like waited last minute to do it this year, and I really it gave me so much vision and really, really helped me. And so I would first and foremost like encourage the women that are on your teams or that you're building with, or any of your level ones, really encourage them to go to Vegas next year, because I think it's one of the best ways to really catch the vision of the company. So I know just for me, that was like a huge game changer. So I've been taking Plexus for a year. And the reason why I originally even signed up was seeing Morgan's posts from convention last year. And it was the introduction of the reset. And I reached out to her. You can hear the whole story another day, but I was really skeptical in the beginning. And then I was shocked that the products actually worked. And then my husband Parker was like, you will never be allowed to do an MLM. He's like, my parents like destroyed their lives doing my multi-level marketing. And I was like, okay, well, are you cool if I just share the links on my social media? So that I'm going to turn off my messengers. I don't know why I'm getting all these pings. I was like, can I at least share the link so I can get my products covered? So for me, oh my gosh, all these text messages are coming in right now, of course, at 9 p.m. But for me, and I think this is a helpful mindset for everyone, is honestly, I know this sounds so easy, but don't think of adding 3 and going silver as necessarily doing the business. So I think a lot of times people, I know all of us probably have people that have done purchase the products, right? And maybe they say like, I don't want to do the business. And everyone has their different reasons, maybe for not wanting to start. I know for me, I had my own reasons, but I think everyone, it's the most basic thing. Everyone should at least want to get their products covered. And you don't need to like do this as a business to get your products covered. And so I think just dismantling that idea that like you have to be a full-time business person, um, I think that's like the first step, if that makes sense. So when I am introducing people that sign up with me to join and sign up 3 people, I'm not really even talking about the business yet per se. I first see if they can even sign up one person, right? So some people like come in and they're like, I want to do the business. I'm going to do this full time. This is how I'm going to like do everything for the rest of my life. And then they can't even refer one person, right? And so I would just say, before someone's like quitting their day job and doing this full time as a business, really see if they can even sign up 3 people. So something I said to my team, that's like a really stupid thing, but I'm just going to say this. So like everyone's wanting to go to the Taylor Swift Eras concert right now. I'm not, because I'm not a Taylor Swift fan, but everyone else is wanting to go to it. It's like the hottest ticket right now, right? And you can sell them for lots of money. Everyone wants to go. So maybe like a different band, but let's just say like you got 3 tickets to go to that concert, right? Like who would be the first 3 people that you would bring with you to that concert? And so I would encourage you right now, like just think right now on the top of your head, and it shouldn't take that long. If you had concert tickets for free to like an amazing show, right? Who would you call to bring to that concert? Okay, so I have my team like sit for a few minutes, think. Maybe you're thinking right now, everyone should be able to think like, okay, the concert's tonight. We're leaving in an hour. Who are you calling and bringing with you, right? And I always encourage people, if you don't have 3 people to go to the concert with, that's a whole separate conversation. Like it's time to, you know, open up your life a little bit, maybe start making some friends at the playground or school drop off lines. And so it's a good like little indicator of your life, especially if you're a Christian. You should have people in your life, right? Like this is what we're called to do. So who are those 3 people? Write them down. And then I tell people, listen, social media is an incredible tool. It's a powerful tool. But your first 3 people that you bring on with you, I actually don't think should be leads from social media. And that's just like my personal conviction on it. And I think the people that do the best in this business, their first 3 people, or at least their first 10, are maybe not social media leads. Because a lot of people, here's the thing, there's a mindset thing here. And this is what I want to dismantle. A lot of people can quickly get into a victim mindset when it comes to social media. And there's just this hurdle where it's like, well, I don't have a huge following. I don't have this huge network, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know why. I've just seen the enemy like just quickly take people out in regards to social media. And I always say, no, social media is your cherry on top. And I'm going to talk to you tonight, even like in this training, how you can use social media. But listen, like you do not need to have a big social media following to grow your team. And I actually think it should almost be um like your backup, right? But that's not your primary way that you're building your team. So your first 3 people are going to be those people that you would bring to the concert with, right? So who are the people that are naturally in your life? So like the first person that I signed up with Plexus, that when I wasn't doing the business, was my mother-in-law Mavis, because I signed up, I was excited, I told her about it, and she watches my kids on Tuesdays. And I was like, we should do this together. And I love her. And I was like, this would be fun to do together. And then the second person I signed up was one of my best friends, Victoria. And Victoria still has never done the business, but I was like, of course we would do this together. And I was like, and she still takes the products every single month, right? And then the third person was my friend Trish in LA. And I knew she was getting healthy, and it was just like something we could do together. And so I just want to encourage you when it comes to your first 3, okay? Or let's say you're trying to train a level 1 to bring on their first 3. Don't necessarily pitch so hard the business aspect of it, because sometimes people are like, I don't know all about the products. I don't know. I can't figure all this out. And it's like, I don't know why we just get into this like swirly, weird mindset. I know I did too. I was like, I logged into the dashboard after my first sign up and I was like, whoa, I can't figure this out. I only run like a huge ministry, but I can't figure this dashboard out. And it's like, it's just so weird how the enemy works with stuff like that. It's so annoying. But just want to encourage you, you can figure all this out, and everyone on your team can figure this out. And so there's like 4 words you need to learn. It's like PV points, like the glossary is like this small, and yet we just like make these hurdles for ourselves. So, um, so the first thing is I would try to get every single one of your level ones. Okay, so firstly yourself. Have you signed up 3 people, right? So that's the first thing, right? So if you're watching this, maybe you're brand new to Team Revive, or maybe you've been on Team Revive forever. I'm hoping this is a training that we can send to everyone and everyone can watch it, and it can be really helpful for wherever you are. But let's say you're brand new. Well, your first primary goal is just to get those 3 people to do this with, and not necessarily like not someone you haven't talked to since the 3rd grade. These are your people that you run with, your natural friends. And then helping those 3 people find their 3 people that they're bringing to the Taylor Swift concert, right? So again, not keeping it complicated. They don't need to know how to post. They don't need to know how to do all the things, right? They just need to know how to use their referral code and get their products covered. Okay, so why does this benefit you? Okay, so first and foremost, number 1, and I've looked at like tons of reports. I've watched like so many trainings on this in the last month, but it's almost an 80% chance from different trainings that I've watched. It's almost near to an 80% chance that they will stay on the subscription if they have 3 friends that are signed up under them. So if their products are covered, you're not going to lose them and have to like rework your whole leg every single month. So when I first started with Plexus, I was just sharing my referral link on social media. I wasn't doing any business building. I had business builders. I wasn't even talking to them, wasn't texting them. Morgan could tell you, totally dropped the ball. Like I had people like doing really well with it, couldn't care less. And they were like going to the retreats. I was like, good for you. And I would say, and this is like a huge painful thing that I wish I didn't do this. I wish I didn't shoot myself in the foot, but I have pages in the dashboard of people that I'd signed up and dropped the ball with. And I think they would have kept doing the product and maybe have done the business if I would have just invited them into the process right away. But I so struggled with fear of man that I was like withholding from them this opportunity, right? And so I just want to encourage you, like, you don't know what this opportunity could be for someone else. So it's not your job to be the gatekeeper of their future. Like your job is to just give them the invitation, the same invitation that was given to you, and then let them decide, right? And so, but again, signing up 3 people and getting your products covered is not doing the business. So when I talk to people all the time, they're like, I don't have time to do the business. I'm like, that's great. I'm like, you just need to invite 3 people and get your products covered. You don't have to do the business at all. Right. And then once they get those 3 people, then I start to say, okay, listen, why don't you join on one of the trainings? Why don't you just join the Team Revive page? Listen, why don't you join this chat and just learn more, right? Because a lot of times too, people have an idea and a mindset of what network marketing community is like. And as we know, Team Revive is the opposite of what everyone thinks about network marketing, right? It's like Krista is like one of the most massive cheerleaders in the entire world. And she gives us so many tools, so many resources. Morgan is an incredible trainer and encourager. There's like endless amounts of resources available. So the tools are there. We just need to give people access to them. So I would say something that I do is, and you can do this in whatever way you want. I'm actually working on a separate side project, but I'm actually working on developing a Team Revive Plexus planner that you can print out, because all of the ones on Etsy are so aesthetically ugly. And I have like a really high value for design. And if you've seen my merch, you know, Jeremiah and Morgan wear my merch all the time. But I just like things to look a certain way. and I just don't like the fonts and I don't like the way that the Etsy ones look. So I'm designing my own that I think can be a resource for you. So that will be coming soon. But before I do that, one really simple thing you could do is this. So every time I sign up someone, I have a notepad and I just put their name. So let's say I add one, I put their name on the notepad. And then I do like 4 little boxes next to their name. And it's kind of like it's really simple, but I just do these 4 boxes. And my first box is like, did I do an initial like text message or voice memo check-in? So have I made that like initial contact with them, but beyond just their welcome email, right? Then my second box that I check off is like, have they gotten their products and know how to use their products, right? Then the third one that I do is I tell them about the business opportunity. And that's my like third checkbox, is letting them know that there is a business opportunity, and are they interested? And then my fourth checkbox is a week after that, I will follow up with them again and I ask them 3 questions. And the first question I ask them is, have they joined the Team Revive Facebook page? I ask them, I send them a video that Morgan and I did that I can send to any of you. I think a lot of you saw it, the video we did this last July about the business. It's like the business 101 kind of. I asked them if they watched that video. And then I asked them if they could think of 3 people that they could do it with and who are those 3 people. And I asked them the questions that require a response. So it's really important to not just leave the conversations like dead ended where you're like, there's this amazing promo that, and like, that's it. But actually like inviting them into a conversation with you is really, really important. So where I totally screwed up in the beginning was I'd be like, give 10 promo is amazing. This is so amazing. You should do it. See you later. Happy smiley face. And then it was like, I'm like, man, why are all these people ghosting me? Like, I'm not hearing from anyone. Like, this sucks. And I was like, this is horrible. And then all of a sudden, I just started like texting people 1-sentence questions instead of long paragraph essays about everything they ever needed to know about Plexus. And all of a sudden, like magic, people started responding to me, because most people that text 1 or 2 sentences. They're not like, if you're texting with your friend, it's not like a whole essay, unless you're like in therapy or something, because it's like, no one's got time for that, right? Do you have time for that? No, I don't have time for that. When I see a long text, I'm like, oh boy, what's this going to be about? Right? Especially those in ministry. You're like, long text, what's happening? So the shorter, the sweeter. And for all my verbal processing friends out there, listen, I'm with you. And I know, I'm like, you want to write that long text. You really want to do it. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Listen, I'll even tell you a trick with social media. The shorter the copy, the better the post is going to do. So I know you want to tell them that when you were 12 and you scraped your knee, and since then your immune system has been down, but no one really cares about that. And so the more you can keep it just short and sweet, the better response you're going to get. So even this week, test it. Like, text all your level 1s and just be like, hey, have you watched any of the video trainings on Plexus? And just question mark and just see what happens. Okay, I'm gonna even help you with this. It like goes for everything. I even tell single girls that are like dating, I'm like, you can just use a 1-sentence text, and like, no guy is gonna ghost you if you just do like a 1-sentence text of like, hey, like, is your week been going well? And it's like, because guys are like not wanting to have these long, crazy conversations. And so just think, the simpler, the better. And then when it comes to social media, okay, so that's not your primary net. So something you got to remember, and sharing with your team, social media is not your primary net. That's where you're going to like start to get extra people, right? But like, okay, I have a larger following. I don't have a massive following, but I have a larger following than most people. But people all the time are like, well, you must be signing up all these people because of social media. And I'm like, honestly, not really. Most of the people that are on my team, I'm just hanging out with in real life. Today I got my hair cut and I talked to 3 people at the hair salon about plexus because I was drinking my pink drink with me at the hair salon. None of them even know my Instagram account, right? So carrying the pink drink with you, one is like the best sales tool you could possibly have, right? I said to my hairstylist, I was like, have you ever heard of this? It's amazing, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not like being pitchy. Also, she's stuck with me for a few hours cutting and doing my hair. So it's like, I'm paying her to listen to me. So you guys just think about the natural, normal things that you're doing and how you can ingrain plexus into your normal life, right? And then your extra cushion is social media. And one thing I also tell my team, and I know, again, I always say to them, I'm like, you cannot say it doesn't work and the business doesn't work if you don't use the tools that are available to you. So again, that's that mindset thing. So a lot of times people are like, oh, well, I tried Plexus, tried to do the business for 2 weeks and it didn't work. And I was like, no, 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 no. Listen. So my first, Jess Jeruzik and I were actually talking about this yesterday, but the first thing that I do for everyone that wants to do the business is I ask them if they've watched the Eric Worre video. And if you haven't gotten that, we can share that again. I think Morgan and I have probably shared it 30,000 times at this point. I literally was on a flight with Jess and she sat and watched it on the flight with me. But I'm like, it is that important, I would say, for people to watch it, because I think hearing from someone that's a professional and how to do network marketing and how to do it well is just a really helpful asset. Also, just a keynote as a business builder, which all of you are, okay, I'm not going to invest a ton of my time into someone that can't watch a training video. So it's a good little filter for you. So actually so I just literally got into my house tonight from our team leader training from church. And I sprinted in, threw my kids to bed, prayed over them and threw on the Zoom. And there's this one thing that Parker said tonight that was so, so good. And I think it would really help you, especially if you're building the business. So if you, he didn't say this part, but I'll get to it. If you're wanting to get to senior gold and higher, okay, so some of you, you're like, I'm good at silver. I just want my products covered, right? But some of you, raise your hand. How many of you want to go to senior gold or higher, in the next year? Okay, awesome. It should be all of you. Yes. All right. Linda, I was about to call you out, but I'm glad you raised your hand. But here's the thing. All of you should want to do it. Why? Because it's completely possible to do. And it's only going to benefit you and your family if you do that, right? So why would you not do it, right? It's a huge opportunity that's available to you. And the same bar is available for all of us to do it. It's not like normal MLMs from the past, like Krista says, where you have to get in early. It doesn't matter if you're the first person to ever do Plexus. You can become a diamond this year with just hard work and a good team. But here's the thing. This is your biggest secret. And this is why dismantling that silver mindset for your level ones is going to be so important, because you cannot get to senior gold or higher without building a team. And listen, it took me a year to go from gold to senior gold. And then it took me 2 weeks to go from senior gold to ruby once I learned the importance of building a team. So the sooner you can understand that, the better it's going to have a value for you later on. And the reason is because once you hit into the ruby, senior ruby, emerald numbers, you're having to almost multiply by double. Sometimes triple even. And even I know Morgan with her run for diamond, she has to almost double her complete orders, right? She would have to be on social media 24/7 for the rest of her life to do that just on recruiting. It's impossible. And we all know this. Listen, you're not supposed to do anything alone anyway. And so it's going to stretch you to start to learn leadership skills, start to learn like time management skills. A lot of times people are like, I don't have the time. I'm like, that's a personal problem because you need to just learn time management. We all have the same amount of time. Listen, we just started a church here. I have 3 kids. I'm pregnant. I do itinerant ministry. I write books. I run a revival ministry, right? And I still put in the time to do this, but I had to buy a new planner. I had to buy a new journal. I had to reorganize my calendar. I have to wake up earlier, right? Like there are sacrifices that are like when I'm on the plane, I'm not able to just watch the movies anymore. I'm working on my business, but I'm saying no to other things so I can say yes to this opportunity, right? And so again, you just have to make that mindset change. So here's something that Parker said at team leaders meeting that I thought was so, so good. And I'm probably going to botch it because it's the first time I've ever heard it, but I think it's super helpful. So they did this study of people that are on a sales team together in like the business world. And they basically did this assessment that if someone is sitting across across the table from like a highly motivated successful salesperson, the salespeople sitting at that table will increase their sales by 20%. Okay. So if they're sitting near a motivated person that has drive, that's going for it, right? They will see a 20% increase in their sales by just sitting at that table. Okay. Is that not so crazy? And then ready for this? I was like, that's crazy. So first of all, it shows you the value of showing up on these Zoom calls, right? Shows you the value of checking in on the Team Revive page, right? And then also like, who are you listening to? So some of y'all need to like download some John Maxwell audiobooks, right? And I know for me, like I had all these weird mindsets when it came to leadership, time management, but I'm not a victim, right? I'm victorious because Jesus Christ has made me victorious. So if I don't have the ability to do something, if I don't have the time, my job is to rework things to find the time. My job is to get resources on time management, right? If I don't have leadership skills and don't know how to develop a team, I would always be like, Morgan, I can't do it because I'm an evangelist and I'm not a pastor. And it's like not my gifting. Guys, that's garbage, honestly. And it's bad mindset. And like, and it's also like just a weird way of using the gifts in an inappropriate way. It's just like, it's not good. And the reality is what I needed to do was buy a freaking leadership book and train myself in skills that I didn't have. And so wherever you're like, man, this is a weakness for me. And it's this thing that makes me want to quit. You know, we all have that different thing. Well, whatever that is, resource yourself, right? Figure it out. Like listen, this is the era of like powerful women rising up, right? Like women that are going to be making 6 figures. I believe that there's going to be like if you saw Jeremiah Johnson and Mike Signorelli's interview together, it was so powerful. And I believe that every word that they said is absolutely true. And I would encourage you to watch that, even just hearing that, like, listen, God's chosen me and he's choosing me to be successful in this. And I have God backing me in this, right? Then it kind of helps you overcome when that like defeat mindset comes in. And so I just want to encourage you. And then here's the thing, the other side of what Parker said. So if you have a highly motivated winner at your table, right? The sales will increase by 20%, right? At that table. Now, ready for this? If you have a victim mentality person at the table, that's a Debbie Downer and super negative, the entire table of salespeople, including the highly motivated person, their sales will go down 30%. 30%. So the influence of a negative person is 10% stronger than the influence of the highly motivated person. And so this is going to hurt all the pastors that are on this call. Anyone that's a pastoral gifting, this is going to offend you. But I hope this can help you. Invest your time, invest your energy in those that are motivated. Okay. Now listen, Parker said this at team leader meeting tonight, and I thought this was so good. And the whole time I'm like, man, I'm stealing this for Plexus. But like, people will promise you the world. They'll say, listen, I really need the money. I need to do this, blah. But you cannot make someone motivated. You can pray for them. You can give them the tools. You can encourage them, right? But I would not spend hours of your time trying to motivate someone that's constantly negative and telling you why they can't do something. It will be a waste of your time, and ultimately it will make you want to quit. And so I just want to encourage you, that burden is not for you to carry. And here's the thing, I just want to encourage you to do this. Pray and ask the Lord to give you a team that's your dream team, right? Ask the Lord to give you people to run with, not to drag along with you. So like Jess Jeruzik's on this call with me. We do a lot of ministry stuff together. We're really good friends, right? And at convention, I was like praying and I was like, man, who is my dream team? And at convention, I texted Jess and I was like, I really want to be here next year with you. And I didn't text everyone. I texted 3 people, and they didn't even tell you to do this at convention. I just was like, man, I would like love to do this with Jess. Like, we would just have so much fun doing this. And I reached out to her. She had been taking the products, but wasn't doing the business. And we spent a lot of time going through trainings and talking about social media and talking about all these different things. We watched the Eric Worre video together on the plane and went through notes. We talked for an hour yesterday on the phone about different strategies, and I'm counting her numbers to see how to get to her senior goals. Listen, this girl, and I'm just going to pump her up for a second because I think this should motivate everyone. Jess started doing the business in July, and I was like, girl, let's run together. Like, let's do this thing together. And I was like, my goal is to like hit 20. And she was like, my goal is to hit 20. She didn't start going into like a swirl of like, well, you have 30,000 followers and I have this many, blah. She was like, she goes, I don't even know how to use Canva. She goes, I don't even know how to do social media. She's like, but I'm going to figure it out. And all of a sudden she started doing like these really good posts, and she like started hiring people to help her with social media posts. And I was like, girl, you were crushing it. She started reaching out to coworkers. She does counseling, and she just started reaching out to people. People would be staying at her house, and all of a sudden the next day they're signing up for Plexus. And listen, her first month of doing the business and deciding to run without a massive social media following, the girl signed up 9 people, okay? 9 people, and is developing people. So she recruited 9 and is building business builders while doing that. And so I just want to encourage you, like, I know you hear over and over and over and over and over again, but so much is connected to just what you believe you're going to do. And the Eric Worre video, I think why it's so helpful, and this is where Jess and I were like, we're just going to do it, is every single one of you needs to choose 90 days that you're all in. You're not going to be tossed to and fro. You're not going to be like, well, I have this or I have that. Listen, I preached in Texas. I preached in California. I was all over the place. I was in Mexico. I was like, I've been traveling so much and technically on vacation this whole month. And like Parker and I will put our phones away, and Parker's very strict about like us being present with our kids and family. And I'm like, oh, I like really want to grow my business, but it's like present time. And so that meant for me, like waking up at, I know this is gonna be a shocker, but like waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning to message people. And I know people are like, that's really insane. Well, that's how I signed up 27 people. And because I didn't have all day and all afternoon because we were going to be present with our kids. And so for you, you just got to like make the sacrifice. And I would say you don't have to live that way, but choose 90 days that you're like, listen, I'm going all in. I'm not wavering. Like my goal for this month is to sign up 30 people this month. And I want to develop 25 business builders this month, right? I have people tomorrow coming to my house to come over, and I'm going to have us all make like post-it boards together, right? And so it's like, now I'm not going to do this every week for the rest of my life, but for 90 days, I'm going to do it, right? And so for me, I signed up 27 people last month. My team brought on 63 people last month. I had one business builder the month before. And I just want to encourage you, listen, it's that momentum of that 90-day push of full focus, full attention, full energy is what's going to help you then get into that cycle of multiplication where all of a sudden then your team, if you're training them to help their people add 3 and they're adding 3, that's how all of a sudden you're going to be Ruby, Senior Ruby, Emerald, like no problem. Because that momentum, like Eric Worre talks about, that momentum will start to roll. So you need to say to yourself, I'm going to do everything in my power to sign up 20 people this month. And listen, like Jess, her aim was 20, and where she fell, she still signed up 9 people. Like how many of you on this call, right, signed up 9 people in July? Probably not a lot. So if you aim for 20, even if you don't hit 20, you're probably still going to push past your benchmarks of what you're doing normal months, right? So you're aiming really high. So if you fall below that, then you're still not hitting like 1 or 2. You're hitting like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, if that makes sense. So even I think it was so motivating. Morgan, again, we're sitting at Morgan's table. She's a highly motivated person. She's like, I'm going for diamond. And I felt like I just happened to be at that sales table, and I was sitting at that table and I was like, well, if you're going for diamond, then I'm going as hard as I can for this. And I didn't allow any Debbie Downer voices in my ear. If people were like, I can't do this, I was like, all right, no problem. I'm just going to focus on my attention and energy on people that are watching the Eric Worre video, that have questions, and that are motivated. And so I just want to encourage you, build builders and pray and be a resource to those that are Debbie Downers. And that's where your time, your focus, and your energy should be. And the last thing that I have for you guys, and then we could do some Q&A too, is I just want to encourage you this week, set a goal this week for yourself, not your team, for yourself to add 3. So at the bare minimum, the beginning of every month, you should be personally trying to add 3. And the reason is because a lot of the trainings that I've watched this last month say a lot of times when you start to get into that Ruby, Senior Ruby, Emerald mode, you can start to get into management mindset, and you want to you can get inundated managing your team. You don't want to do that. You want to keep recruiting while building your team. So you don't want all of your attention to go into team building, which could easily happen. I know after signing up 27 people yesterday or last month, I texted Morgan. I was like, oh, it's a lot of work. I'm like, it's a lot of voice memos and following up with 27 people. I'm like, yikes, this is like a small church. So I'm calling people. I'm like, hey, how are you doing? And I'm like, number 11. Okay, let me call it number 12. And so, but as long as you keep adding on 3 every month and training those 3 to add 3, you will continue to see that multiplication happen, right? So I know some of you, how many of you are trying to go to silver on this call? Wave your hand if you're going to silver. Okay. Okay. So obviously then your main goal for this week is to add 3. How many of you are trying to go to senior silver? 1. Okay. And what about for gold? Okay. 2 for gold. And how many are trying to go senior gold? 1, 2, 3. And then ruby? Okay. Awesome. Awesome. All right. Is anyone trying to go for senior ruby? Emeralds? I'm trying to go for emeralds. I need 300 orders to go for emerald, but it's going to happen. So I'm making a planner for all of us because I'm like, I need a system if that's going to happen. um, but listen, okay, so here's the thing. The only way we're going to hit those goals together, guys, is if we are constantly recruiting. And so I always say, I'm like, listen, in the beginning of the month, the first 2 weeks, if you can add those 3 people in the first 2 weeks, first of all, when those subscriptions run, they're going to run in the beginning of the month. So I used to do like the scramble at the end, and then all my like subscriptions were on the 28th, and I was like sweating bullets, and I was like, oh, I won the iPad and the Lululemon, but I'm really stressed out here. So I want to encourage you, the first 2 weeks, try to get them on so that their subscriptions run and you're not just like a nervous wreck about points throughout the whole month. And then the second thing too is, as you're building your team, it's super motivating for them to see that you're adding people, right? So if you're like not in the chat, giveaway chat, and you're not like added one, but you're like, you should add 3, but you ain't doing nothing, like that's not going to be motivating to them. So I always say to my team, like, okay, it's follow-up Friday. I'm following up with all my leads. Ooh, I signed up 1 person from my follow-ups. How are follow-ups going for you guys? And asking people like showing them what you're doing and then asking them to do what you're doing, right? That's what leaders do. We model and then we assist, right? We model and assist. So you need to do it first. So if you want your team to recruit, you need to be a recruiter, but you don't need to constantly be recruiting 20. But if you're doing that 90-day push, you should be recruiting for 20, right? Does that make sense? Okay. And then the very last thing I have for you before we do Q&A is, okay, I talked about this before in one of the trainings, but I just feel like I just need to keep reiterating it because I don't know, it must be coming up because my team is like all charismatics or something. But I just want to encourage you, do not over spiritualize hard work. I know that sounds like so basic, but listen, like if a product didn't arrive in the mail or if someone ghosted you, it's not Satan. He's not attacking you. Like, it's not a sign that you're not meant to do the business. And I'm like kind of joking, but I'm kind of not because I've lost 2 people this month for those reasons. And so I know, pray for me. But I just want to encourage you, like, the enemy is doing a lot of things. The thing he's probably the most active in is affecting your mindset and affecting your thoughts. So he's not really getting your products to miss out and he's not having people ghost you, right? But he's making you think that you're a loser because someone ghosted you. And he's making you think that you can't do this because you had a week where no one signed up or no one responded, right? And so I want to encourage you, first of all, and I know this is like the most obvious thing, but I'm just going to say it again, like be in the word if you're pursuing this hardcore. And I know this sounds super obvious, and I talked about this on the live stream on Facebook, but we all know this, but John 15, like you have to abide in him and he has to abide in you. And then he says, if you ask anything in my name, it will be done for you. But it's a conditional promise. It's in that abiding, right? And why does it happen? It's because his words become our words. He actually says, abide in me. And then he later on, Jesus says, he goes, if my words abide in you, because there's no difference between the spirit of Jesus and the word of God, because we all know the word became flesh and dwelt among us, right? So if you feel like you're being tossed to and fro, get into the word, meditate on the word, right? I've been meditating on Ephesians, on John. I've been asking the Lord, like, listen, Who do you say I am? Like, what purpose do you have for me in Plexus? Like, for me, I'm like, I want to see so many people in Team Revive walk that jewel stage and the testimony over and over and over again, to be like, I don't know how I did it, but God's favor was all over me. Like, I want to be offensive with the favor of the Lord. Like, people are like, you signed up 27 people in a month, must be because of your social media. I'm like, it ain't because of my social media. Half the people that signed up for me didn't find me on social media. Literally, it would be divine appointments and random conversations. And here's the thing, I signed up 27 people because the Lord favors me, and I'm going to run in that favor, right? And so the Lord wants you to be successful, right? We know Romans 11, it says that he wants you to actually win at life to the point where it causes jealousy among the Jewish people, right? And so your life should be working, your Christianity should be working, right? And so we know we're the head, we're not the tail, right? We're above and not beneath. But some of you need to meditate on this stuff, because sometimes one little thing goes wrong, right? Like, you could be down some points and you really thought you were going to hit something, and then that could just take you out. And I just want to encourage you, like, we all know this, don't be tossed to and fro. Have that steadfast foundation. And some of you just need to write down on your mirror, I'm committing to do Plexus for like 6 months at 100%. And 100% means posting on your stories every day, watching the Zoom trainings every week, even if you have to make your face not shown. You know, I sometimes pop up on here and I do one of these because I have no makeup on and I'm tired, right? We all do it, right? But it's showing up, it's being trained. When I'm in the car, I'll throw on a training, right? And so making sure that you're staying in that cycle of actually not wavering, but just going all in. And I just want to say to you, it's like a little prophetic thing for you. So I just want to encourage you guys really strongly that there is momentum right now. We're in a season of momentum. There are just like spiritual ebbs and flows that kind of happen in life, right? Harvest seasons, it happens in nature. There are seasons in life. We all know that, right? And so I just want to encourage you in entrepreneurship, especially for women right now. And I don't totally know why, because the Lord's allowed to do whatever he wants, but there is a favor on it right now. There's a momentum on it. And so I just want to encourage you, like, don't drop the ball in this season. So like, I signed up 27 people last month, and I could easily be like, all right, I'm going to chill this August because I really need to just work on business building, and I have itinerant stuff, and we're getting ready for our revival training school in September. I have to write like lots of curriculum and all this stuff. And I was praying, and the Lord was like, if there is favor and momentum right now, do not drop that. And you just don't know how long those seasons last for. And so I just want to encourage you, like, listen, there are people right now that are interested in this because like the Lord is just speaking to them about it. And it's like low hanging fruit. It's like, it's the same thing that they say for evangelism. It's like understanding those seasons of like, when is a good time to like preach the gospel and win the lost? Because they're just COVID, great season. Like, people had depression, anxiety, they're stuck in their house, right? Great season for harvest. And so paying attention. So right now, when it comes to Plexus, when it comes to business building, when it comes to sharing about health and gut health and these amazing products that work and sharing the testimonies, there's a momentum happening on it. So don't miss this season because you're waiting or you're wanting to get everything figured out. Just start sharing every moment that you have. Carry that pink drink with you. Be bold and talk to people about it. You don't have to be a weirdo. You can literally say, have you ever tried this before? That's not weird. I do that with like a Chick-fil-A milkshake. I'm like, wow, this peach one is so good. Have you ever tried this before? And no one's like, oh my gosh, that's so offensive that you said that. Like, it's normal to ask people if they've tried things. So stop getting in your head. Don't get weird, swirly things. Ask the Lord what you should do, and then pick 90 days and run, run, run during those 90 days. All right. So do you guys, Morgan, well, do you have anything? And we could do Q&A too.
No, it's so perfect. So if you guys have questions, you can pop them in the chat. Or if you want to unmute yourself, you're welcome to do that as well. Marielle, can everybody just find Marielle on the Zoom and see her sticky notes right there? You sitting in your office. I'm like just over here admiring your sticky notes on your wall. We'll give it about 10 minutes because we want to honor your guys' time and end at 10 p.m. For us Easterners, it gets late, but I know we have people all over. So trying to find a good time for everyone, but I love it. Jessi just broke down the basics, and you can hear in her voice the belief that she grabbed a hold of at convention. She saw where she was lacking, the holes missing in her own business, and that she couldn't do it alone. And then the benefit of right now, she's no longer like, I always see a duck on the top of water and they're just like paddling their little feet, because she was able to recruit, but she realized, oh, I'm really missing other aspects of the business. What's going to make this easier? It's going to make it sustainable. And so, like I talked about last week, I think it was, or maybe a couple weeks ago, there's a walk, a run, and a sprint, right? We're in it for the marathon. We're in it for the long haul. And I got a couple questions after that Zoom saying, well, what does it look like? Or what did you mean when you said I didn't sprint the whole month long? Every single day that I'm working, because I take off days, Sabbaths are biblical, I'm posting, I'm reaching out to people, I'm contacting people. But when I'm sprinting, I'm doubling, tripling, quadrupling my efforts. Sprinting looks like something, right? When somebody is sprinting, you can tell that they're working. You can tell they're out of breath. They're working hard. They're going for the long haul. They're not in a maintaining stage. And so it should look like something. There should be sacrifice. There should be sweat. There should be adjusting of schedules. There should be taking away of other things. Jessi's talking about waking up at 4 a.m. because she doesn't want her priorities to be tilted either. We don't want our families to resent us sprinting either. We want to make sure that we're doing those things. And Jessi and I can both say, like, if time is your excuse, then you're putting the things that you're doing above the business building. And you have to be honest with yourself in that area. I have 4 children. Jessi has 3. We both are in massive ministries, and we could go on with the traveling things. So busyness, I can just tell you, me, Krista, and Jessi would not be doing this if time mattered to us. We make it worth our time. It's worth it because we believe in you guys. We believe in the business, and we believe in the supplements that we're taking. So if I could break down what she said, do not overcomplicate it. When you first begin this, grab your 3 besties, your mom, your sister, your uncle. You don't go to social media. Don't say you threw up a post and nobody commented, right? You should have 3 people in your inner circle that you're like, hey, I'm about to try this and you need it too. Let's do this thing together. Get a system in place. Jessi has a system that she has for every person she onboards, and she gave you those tools tonight. So if that sounds like something you can do, I think everybody can grab a notebook, write down names, put 4 check marks, right? And do those easy systems. You can use our YouTube video. You don't have to remake YouTube videos. Everything is there. You just then have to plug and play for your own team, and simpler is better. I always say that, guys, don't overcomplicate that either. If you guys think because I know everything, because I've been in the business a long time, I am asking people simple things. Hey girl, have you tried this? Hey, do you have health goals? What are your health goals? Here's my info page. Check it out. Search for the things you need. Keep it simple and don't be weird. You do those 2 things and people are going to be drawn to you in that area. Are y'all sure that you don't have any questions? No questions. I loved that leaders model and assist, because really, I think that is the main reason I'm a jewel. I literally just was like, I'm going to do this thing. I didn't quit for a year. I was successful in that year, and I just brought others along. I was like, oh, you want to do the business too? Well, this is what I do every day. All right, this is what I do every day. I didn't see myself as a leader, but what I did do was just say, like, hey, do it with me. Hey, this is what I do. Do it with me. and it wasn't complicated. And then those who wanted the business ran. So I said that to Jessi. There is such a beautiful thing about your time. You can want it, you can lead that horse straight to water, but you cannot make them drink it. And so if it's not their season for the business, if they don't want it, keep them in your prayers, but don't continue to invest your time there. With my business builders that I work with all the time, I say, hey, go watch this video and then do this. Once they've watched that video and they've done that, then we go to the next step. I'm working with people who are coming to me asking questions. I'm working with those of people who are on these Zooms or they're watching the recordings and asking me, hey, you said this. What did you mean by that? Because I know they're doing what we're saying. They're not just watching the trainings, but they're applying them. So run with your runners and you guys will be massively successful. We're excited for you. I can't wait to see all those goals come to pass. Love to seeing you guys raise your hands. If there's no questions, Jessi, you want to pray us out?
Yes. So God, I just thank you. I really do believe that just as a team, like throughout Team Revive, that we really can rally and I think really make a huge impact at convention next year in Vegas. I've seen multiple visions of us just taking up a ton of space at that convention. And so I pray that we would multiply, not just for our own business, but I just kept getting this prophetic word while I was in California about how New Age has really just taken up so much residency in the network marketing world. And it's because so many Christians have really abdicated that place of authority there, where New Age and manifesting and all of that has really taken a stronghold. And I just feel like this year specifically that the Lord wants to do something powerful within network marketing in these networks of women. There's so many prophetic words about women rising up, entrepreneurs. And I just believe there's no better way than to start here with Team Revive in Plexus. And I pray that every single woman that watches this video, every man that watches this video, that we would enter into that place of multiplication. And I pray that there would be huge sections of convention that would be filled of Team Revive, Holy Spirit filled believers that are successful, that are confident, that don't fear man, and that could walk into that convention with boldness, authority, and a powerful testimony. And I pray that we would see revival in Vegas at convention next year. So Holy Spirit, I ask right now that you would multiply our efforts, that you would give us extra energy, God. And I pray that you would give us a vision bigger than ourselves. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right. We'll have a Zoom next week. I'll let you know whether it's Monday or Tuesday, but have a blessed week. We love y'all.